My name is Nathan Reinking, and I work at Escondido High School, at Escondido Union High School District. My inquiry question was, does a student's definition of each letter grade affect their motivation in the classroom? I did student questionnaires, so I asked them to define what each letter grade meant. Maybe I said you can write, you can draw, whatever. Draw what a A student looks like in class, what a D student looks like in class. We had discussions following those questionnaires, and then obviously the grade data, empirical evidence to back it all up. I was getting frustrated with some of my lower performing students. I teach guitar and choir. I think those are two subjects that it should be very hard to get something other than an A or a B in, because they're electives. The students choose to be there, and I think there's great examples of great music everywhere. So I was having these problems with these students celebrating D's and C's as something, and it's not an F. Well, it's not an F, but it's still a D and a C. So I was wondering, these low-performing students who have been low-performing since at least 6th grade, and maybe before that, being told that a C is fine, a D is fine, you've passed, you're moving forward. Has the C and the D become the new average grade? That they didn't know how a grading policy worked. They really need to hear about it more, because that first week they get maybe 5 or 6, 7 syllabi in 1 week, and they get all this information dumped on them, and like a week later they have no idea. My students didn't know how much the tests were worth towards their grade. They didn't know how much class participation was worth, or citizenship, or the attendance policy, or homework, or any of that. So they had no idea that if they flunked this test, it was going to lower their grade by, and at that point in time, it was going to lower it by about 8%. They had no idea. So they were like, one test, no big deal. Listening is the big thing. You got to listen to your students and ask for their feedback about how the test went. Okay. And it's not just like, hey, how did the test go, everybody? Oh, I have the score, so I know how you think it went. But how did the process go? Was it too rushed? Was the pacing all right between tests? Right now, we're having a test every week. That's what they asked for. So I asked them, how many tests do you want? Do you want one every week? Do you want one every 2 weeks? Do you want one in 3 weeks? And they usually ask for one every week. And one of my students, he drew a picture. He drew it perfectly. He said it's like a connect the dots picture. And the more dots you have, the better picture you can have at the end. So the more tests that we have, the more accurate the picture I can have of that student's progress in the class. And I also have grading. We have this discussion about grades every 6 weeks, right before the grading policy comes out. That's when we lay out the schedule for the next 6 weeks. It can be. I mean, I think that, like anything, if it's done right and you take the time to make it worthwhile and make it an authentic experience for you in the classroom, it can be. If it's just filling out paperwork for you, then you're wasting your time. If you say it's a waste of time, then you're absolutely right. If you say it's not a waste of time, then you're absolutely right.